Okay, good morning. Ian Andrews here. We are back. Right now we have 7 folks who are in. Please send us messages throughout the call. I will be tracking them. If you have questions, we're going to hold them for the end, unless there's a way that we can kind of insert them. But Matt's got a really nice presentation, and so we'll try to hold most of your questions to the end, and then I'll work with Matt to get those answered. Again, my name is Ian Andrews. I'm the Executive Director at Lakewood Alive. We're Lakewood's nonprofit community development organization, and we are really glad that you're here. We want to make sure that we are helping out the community in numerous ways during this pandemic, one of which is with small businesses, and to ensure that we're providing the support that we can to help the small business community make it through this crisis. And we thought that Social Media 101, which came out of a conversation with folks who we were engaging with, would be a really nice way to try to make sure that your presence remains in the public sphere. And so we just want to assist as best we can, working on a number of fronts to help out during the pandemic. So please send along your questions. I will track them and report them to Matt, and then he will be able to answer your questions as we go along. Thanks to Allison, Kurt, Danielle, Julie, Kathleen, Kelly, Scott, and Tricia for joining us. If you can't hear me or you're having difficulty, please send me a message to let me know. In all fairness, this is our first time doing this, so we're really excited to get started. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to our Marketing and Development Manager, Matt Bixenstein. Go ahead, Matt.
Thanks, Ian, and thank you, everybody, for joining us this morning. I know your time is valuable, so we'll dive right in, and hopefully we're able to give you some value from this presentation. Just a quick tidbit about me. My name is Matt Bixenstein. I'm the Marketing and Development Manager for Lakewood Alive. I've been with Lakewood Alive 4 years, and I manage the Lakewood Alive and Downtown Lakewood accounts. I'm actually wearing the same shirt today as in that photo, just by chance. And I live in Lakewood over by Madison Park with my family, including my Basset Hound. And he's sitting next to me, and he's promised me he's going to be quiet throughout this presentation. But I do apologize if there's some barking in the background. So for this presentation, the plan is to start off by going through 10 best practices for social media for small businesses. We'll then turn our attention specifically to Facebook and talk through some tips that apply to that platform. We'll then do the same for Instagram, and then finish with a Q&A session. And ultimately, our goal today is to help all of you to stay connected with your customers by social media during this crisis, a time that is obviously very difficult for the small business community. And hopefully, social media can be a tool that can help you during this time to stay top of mind with your customer base. So we'll start with the 10 social media best practices. And the first one is that we recommend that you use Facebook and Instagram regardless of whether your business is currently open or not. We know there's a myriad of social media platforms out there, and we know that you all have time constraints because you have a lot going on. So these are the 2 platforms that we recommend you use, in part because they are the most popular social platforms in the world, and as well as nationally. And they also complement one another, whereas Facebook appeals to primarily to a crowd 35 and up. Instagram is used oftentimes by younger generations under 35. So by using both, you can reach a more diverse age demographic and ensure that you reach all of your potential customers. And we recommend that you use these platforms even if your business is temporarily closed due to the crisis. The visual for this particular slide gives a number of options. Some of them do require your business to be open, but others do not. You can, even if your business is temporarily closed, you can still encourage your customers to leave a review on Facebook or on Google, or to promote your social media pages by sharing your page to their audiences, or if you have a email list, asking them to subscribe. So now is a great time to still engage with these audiences because let's be honest, you have a real captive audience out there. There's a lot of folks who are stuck at home are spending more time on their phones than normal. And so now's a great time to reach them. Our second social media best practice is about post frequency. And we recommend that you post at least once every other day if possible. And in fact, if you're able to post every day during the crisis, that's not necessarily a bad thing. If you're able to, it's worthwhile to create a weekly social calendar where you kind of map out for the week ahead, I'm going to post about this topic on this day and this topic on this day, just to help give you some structure. But this consistency is really important, and especially because with Facebook and Instagram, they're owned by the same company. Facebook did buy out Instagram a few years ago, and you're able to have free access to literally thousands of current and prospective customers, and it's a great opportunity to engage. You're also rewarded by Facebook for your frequency. Their algorithm is such that they want you to post, and when you post consistently, it'll spawn more engagement. So having that frequency of at least every other day or every day if possible is worthwhile, not only during the crisis, but even once we return to normalcy if possible. Our third best practice is to include a visual whenever possible. There's a couple stats here we have listed about referring to just how much more engagement posts with visuals have versus text-only posts. And then I myself tend to be a visual learner, and I know a lot of people are as well. And people are more likely to retain information through a visual. And it's also important just to know that you don't need to be intimidated by the quality of a visual. At this point in time, amateur video is wholly acceptable in social media and encouraged. And when you're able to include, a video that you shot on your phone in a post, that tends to engage really well with your customer bases, especially if that video shows you and your place of business. Our fourth best practice is to prioritize shop images over stock images. As you all know, there's just countless photos available on the internet. And not only do you have to worry about copyright violations with using those images, but your customers will engage better when they actually see your place of business, your signage, your storefront, your products. So whenever possible, we recommend that you use a photo that actually shows your business as opposed to using a photo from the internet. And the example used here, Rosie's Wine House, one of our Troy Avenue, downtown Lakewood, longtime businesses, did a nice post last week where they simply had their iconic sign displayed with a pretty sky in the background, and that post engaged really well, just because people like to see that sort of landmark, and people associate with brands that way. So whenever possible, use shop images over stock images. Our fifth best practice is to engage with customers who engage with your page. On both Facebook and Instagram, it's important to check your notifications regularly, because both platforms will track who has liked your posts, who's made comments on your post, who shared your posts. And when your customers comment on your post or share your post, give that a like, because those people are acting as ambassadors for you, and you want to show them your appreciation for that. And by the same token, when you get comments, if they warrant a response, make sure you respond in a timely manner, whether it's a public comment or if you're sending a private message. And basically, by rewarding customers who engage with you, you're going to encourage them to continue to engage with you, and that way you'll reach more potential customers, both through increasing your own network and through being reached by your customers' networks as well. Our sixth best practice is to cross-promote with fellow Lakewood small businesses. Let's be honest, we're all in this together. We have a real vibrant small business community, but it's a real difficult time for all of us. So when you can promote your fellow businesses, that's only going to help your following, and it will also earn you some karma. When you promote a different brand, you're potentially reaching new audiences, so you can grow your own audience. So for instance, say your business is temporarily closed due to the crisis, but your neighbor business is still open. This would be a perfect time to give them a plug on social media. And then chances are they'll return the favor and reciprocate at some point down the line. In the example here, it's 3 Madison Avenue businesses. Fears Confections, which is a great sweet tooth delight business on Madison, did this post yesterday about how 2 other Madison businesses, Mars Bar and Dang Good Foods, are selling their brownies while Fears is shut down. So it was just a great collaboration between 3 local small businesses. But even if you don't have this sort of collaboration in place, it's still worthwhile to plug your neighboring businesses. And like I said, they'll likely reciprocate and everybody wins. All right, moving on. Best practice number 7 is don't be afraid to experiment. Social media is all about experimentation. We're all learning more about it. It's evolving every day. And so, you can experiment with the time of day you post and the day of week you post to see what's most effective. For Lakewood Live, what we find is that good content will engage well anytime. But for us, our bread and butter is Saturday morning. That's the time of the week that we get the absolute best engagement. So it's worthwhile to experiment and see what's the case for your particular business. It's also worthwhile to be creative and experiment with your creativity. Consider hosting a contest. The example we give on this page is Mid-Ohio Valley, which is a great organization down in southeastern Ohio, created a support local bingo game where they're encouraging people to support local in different ways while playing bingo and then submitting completed bingo sheets to be entered in a raffle. And it's just one example of a creative way that you can engage with your customers during the crisis or even after the crisis. We also recommend you experiment with text overlay of putting text over your images. Canva is a site that is free to use. You don't have to have a paid subscription, and it's a really easy way to add text over images. The example we give here is Light the Lakewood Night is a community solidarity initiative that we orchestrate here at Lakewood Alive. It's basically encouraging people to hang string lights to show togetherness during the crisis. And I know I'm going to contradict myself from a few slides ago. This image actually was a stock photo from the internet that we bought the rights to use, but then we personalized it on Canva, adding our own text to the image to make it specifically branded to Lakewood. And that really helped to pitch the idea in the public realm. So something as simple as text overlay can really boost your engagement. The final example for experimentation is with sponsored posts. You can, because Facebook and Instagram are owned by the same entity, it's really easy to, put a few bucks. I think, the minimum, I believe is only about $15 to try to boost a post on both platforms. And, specifically, if you have something that you want to try to get out there that's specifically, particularly important to your business, say you have a certain sale going on or you have a certain initiative in place, it's worthwhile to try a sponsor post and see if it's effective for you. It's a low risk proposition. And if you're not familiar with how to run a sponsored post, I'll have my contact information at the end of the presentation, and I'm happy to run through that with anybody. Give me a call. We'll walk through it together on the phone, just so you're comfortable with doing that. Our next best practice is to use a brand hashtag. For Lakewood Alive, our brand hashtag is Loving Lakewood, and we've also listed a few more examples of hashtags that show pride in both in Lakewood and in the shop local movement. A hashtag, think of it as a filing system. It's a way, basically, if you create a hashtag and you use it regularly, when somebody clicks on that hashtag, they would then see all the posts that have that hashtag. So you're essentially filing your posts. But I think equally important, it's also a way to show your pride, because when you use a hashtag like Loving Lakewood, it's a great way to display your pride, and I think that might be just as important as the filing system. So feel free to use Loving Lakewood as a brand hashtag, but we also recommend that you consider creating your own if you haven't already for your brand, and to share that in your posts. Our 9th best practice is to grow your social following. Just in the way that you want to grow the customer traffic in your store, and you want to grow the customers who are in your point of sale system, you want to grow your social following as well. And there are a number of good ways to do that. And one is to share your posts on your personal Facebook page. So Facebook really gives a lot of priority to personal pages. And so when you have a brand post and then you share on your personal page, you're expanding that reach into your personal network. So that's one great way to then reach more people with your posts. Another way is to monitor the Lakewood community Facebook groups. There's a number of them out there, and by and large, they don't allow straight advertisements, but they do sometimes have posts where they say, for this post only, feel free to plug a Lakewood business, and that'd be an opportune time to plug your business. And you can also, when it's not a straight advertisement, when you have a creative way to tie in your business on these pages, these pages all have a pretty significant reach and following, so they're worthwhile to monitor and to use to learn how you can incorporate your business into them. Another way is to be creative and branch out with your posts. This kind of relates back to what we were talking about before with plugging your neighbor's business. But if you make 1 out of every 10 posts have nothing to do with your business, make it about something about pride in Lakewood, or show a picturesque view of Lake Erie, or just something different. And that's a great way to expand your audience because you'll have your core following that appreciates what you do and engages with your posts regularly. But when you step out of your comfort zone and post something different, that's a way to attract new audience to your posts and to your social following. Our final best practice is perhaps the most important, and that is to tell your brand story. We all have stories to tell. You guys have all put your blood, sweat, and tears into your businesses and grown them, and those are the stories you want to tell. And particularly during this difficult time when not only is the small business community struggling, but lots of everyday folks are struggling. Now's a great time to show empathy and even humor with your posts. We'll have an empathy example on the next page, but for a humor one, Beat Cycles is a wonderful Detroit Avenue bicycle shop, and they took this opportunity to post a video about inflating your tires. It's real timely because it's spring and people are thinking about biking, and biking is a great socially distancing activity. So what a great idea. But then they also, as part of the post, took the chance to remind people to shop local and did some self-deprecating humor and poked fun at themselves. And, it's just a great way to just give them a distraction during this difficult time and help to lift their spirits. There's a lot of really good.
Hey Matt, this is Ian here. I'm just going to jump in briefly and just remind everyone that if you have any questions, please go ahead and send them over. I will track them and get them to Matt. So please, as you have questions, type them out and we will get them answered near the end. Go ahead, Matt.
Thanks, Ian. So there's a lot of really good examples of showing empathy and encouraging togetherness in social posts right now during the crisis from our small business community. This is one of our favorite examples. Sauce Taproom and Kitchen, a restaurant and bar on Detroit Avenue. They closed for business last week, and they did a really good job of just pouring their heart and soul into their closing post. They had this visual of their walk-in cooler being empty, and they spoke. And unfortunately, we weren't able to include all of the text in the screenshot, so we recommend going to look at this post if you get a chance. But they talked about how when they sold off their final product, they took that money. They had a heart-to-heart with their staff to determine who needed money the most right at that time, and dished out that money accordingly. They then took the leftover food and donated it to Lakewood Community Services Center, and then ended the post by saying that they long for the day where they can reopen. And it was just a great example of a local business pouring their heart out, showing generosity, showing empathy during a really difficult time. And there's lots of great examples out there, but don't be afraid to wear your heart on your sleeve during this difficult time. All right, so now we'll shift gears and talk a little bit about some tips that are specific to Facebook, which happens to be my favorite platform. And the first tip is to try out Facebook's new look. You've likely been prompted to switch to the new Facebook look. And this look, with their new look, Facebook is trying to be more reader-friendly. The text is larger, the images are larger, it's a little bit cleaner of a look. And like anything, change can be difficult at first. But what's nice is that, at least for the time being, Facebook's giving us the opportunity to try the new look and return to the classic Facebook. So in the visual, on the horizontal visual, you can see that there, if you do the drop-down arrow and scroll, you can switch back to classic Facebook. So we recommend that you try the new Facebook and start developing a comfort level with it. But that said, you can always switch back to the classic one if need be for now. Our second Facebook tip is to invite your engaged audience to like your page. In a few slides ago, we were talking about how it's really important to try to grow your social following. This is one of the easiest ways to do so. When folks engage with a post of yours, such as this downtown Lakewood post, you can click on the likes and see everybody who engaged with your post. And it's possible that some of those people aren't actually following your page, that they saw the post through a different, through a friend's engagement or through a friend sharing the post. And so if you look here, we can look down the list and we can see that everybody likes the downtown Lakewood page, except for Mickey down here. She loved our post, but she is not somebody who likes that page. So by a simple click of this invite button, we've sent Mickey an invitation to like our page, and then we'll actually get a notification if Mickey decides to become a follower of the downtown page. So when you have these posts that engage well, it's worthwhile to go through the likes for those posts and make sure that everybody is actually a follower, and it's a great way to grow your social following on Facebook. Our third tip for Facebook is about events. We recommend to create events and leverage their capabilities. I imagine most of you are familiar with Facebook events and have been invited to many. We like to think of Facebook events as a bucket. It's a way to gather folks into a bucket, and then as you get closer to your event, you can engage them further by posting into the event, where the people who are already in that bucket, who have said they're interested or going to your event, then get a push notification and a reminder and additional messaging about your event. So the example we have here is one of our upcoming Knowing Your Home workshops for Solar 101. And what's great is we're able to actually embed a ticket link right into the Facebook event, so people can claim their ticket without even leaving Facebook. You also get some really nice stats about whom your event's to reach and some of the core demographics you've reached. And I know during this time you can't necessarily host a physical event, but it's a great time if you're not using events to try an online event. It can be something as simple as, if you're hosting an online sale for your business, create an event for that. And then down the road, once we do return to normalcy, try out events that are more of a physical nature. What we find is that when you do a post to promote something, that's great. But when you do a post to promote something and create an event to then attract followers, you're really increasing the engagement beyond if you just do a post alone. Our fourth Facebook tip is to pin your most important post to the top of your page. And the example we have here is what's currently pinned on the top of the Lakewood Alive page. And a shameless plug, but this is we created a web page that's devoted to resources to help small businesses during the crisis. And that's now pinned to our page. And if you haven't seen it, we recommend you check it out. And so you're familiar with all the resources we've compiled. I'm sure we've all had situations where you've made a post that you feel really good about and it engages well, and then some time passes and you're ready to post again and you say, but I don't want to push down the post that did really well and that was really important to me. Well, pinning your post is a great way to keep that post that's important front and center while continuing to go about your social promotions. And in the case of Lakewood Alive, we usually have a pinned post regarding whatever is our most important topic of the moment. So when we announced the Knowing Your Home schedule a few weeks ago, we pinned the schedule to the top. And when we get close to the Front Porch Concert Series dates, we'll pin a post about that to the top. And it's a great way to keep your most pressing information front and center for any customers who visit your Facebook page. Our next tip is the schedule posts in the new Creator Studio. So with the new Facebook look, you can still make posts directly on your Facebook page, but then they also created a Creator Studio, which you'll see across the top of your Facebook panel. And that Creator Studio, if you click into that, it gives you some more elaborate settings for creating a post. So in the vertical photo on the right here, we did a test, and one of the advantages of this Creator Studio is it allows you to schedule posts. By going to the bottom and to the Publish button and hitting the drop-down arrow, you can schedule your post for a later date. And that's really useful. Say you're a business and Saturday is your busiest day, and on a Saturday you wouldn't have time to do social media, but you still want to reach customers that day because it's a great day for social traffic. Then that way during the week you can schedule your Saturday post, and that way you go about your business on Saturday and know that you'll have that social support still going out. Our next tip for Facebook is to hide comments when necessary. In a perfect world, all the comments that we get from our customers and everybody who engages us on social would be positive and encouraging and uplifting, and many of them will be. But as you know, there will always be some naysayers or even some spam. And we find that the best way to handle this is to hide the comments. And you'll see sorry, I jumped ahead there. The three little dots next to a comment, if you click that, you'll get the option to delete or hide a comment. Now, we typically don't recommend to delete a comment because the commenter then might become more enticed to promote their negativity on your page. But by hiding a comment, you're making that comment invisible to everyone except for the commenter and that person's personal social following. So you're in effect deleting the comment, but without letting the commenter know. So it's a great tool for if you do have to deal with a negative comment or something that's inappropriate or spammy in nature. Our final tip for Facebook is to check your About section for accuracy. We all on our Facebook pages have an About section where it lists kind of biographical information, your physical address, your website, a brief description of your business, and those sort of details. And it's easy to forget that exists, to set that and forget it. But it's also something that a newer prospective customer who visits your page might go to right away. And so it's important to not forget about that section, to check it periodically just to make sure it's accurate and it kind of is a good front door to your Facebook page. All right, so now we'll move on to a few tips that are specific to Instagram. And the first one is quite simply to create an Instagram account if you don't already have one for your brand. We know that all of you guys are really busy, and you're probably still busy, but it's possible you have a little more free time right now than normal due to the shutdown. And now's a great time to try Instagram. We find that Facebook is growing slowly and Instagram is skyrocketing right now as far as usage. And we're to the point where a lot of our posts actually perform better on Instagram than they do on Facebook. So now's a great time to give Instagram a try. And I'm happy to have a one-on-one if anybody needs it and walk through starting that platform. The second tip kind of relates to that one, and that's to not worry about perfection with your Instagram photos. Instagram it's a visual platform, but you don't have to be a professional photographer to use it. Really, anybody can post photos, and the same rule applies that we talked about earlier, where we recommend using shop photos instead of stock photos. And we find that when you show your actual place of business and your storefront and your products, it performs way better than when you have an internet photo in your post. Our third tip for Instagram is to push your posts from Instagram to Facebook. This is a nice way to save time. If you look at the vertical visual on this page, When you do a post, if you scroll to the bottom, provided that your Facebook and Instagram accounts are linked together, then you have this option to also post to Facebook, where you just push the button and you're then also cross-posting to Facebook. So if you're looking to use both platforms as recommended, but also save some time, then by posting to Instagram first and then pushing it to Facebook, that's a great way to kill two birds with one stone. But by the same token, say that you want to post separately on Facebook and Instagram, and that sometimes you want to do that because they're different platforms, and sometimes you want the messaging to be a little different. Say you want to have a little bit text heavy on Instagram, then you can still post separately. And if you do it that way, we recommend to post to Facebook first, because Facebook, if you then go to your post on your phone and copy the text, it typically will copy cleanly into an Instagram post. So you can transfer your Facebook text to an Instagram post, copy it down into that post, and then adjust it as needed for Instagram. One thing we recommend for when you use Instagram, since you can't have links except for in your Instagram profile, we recommend to create a pretty link. And we didn't do that for this particular example, but there's a site called tinyurl where you can take a link. So say you have a link on your web page, and you can customize it to say social media webinar or something of that nature. And that way, even though your Instagram followers can't click on the link, it'd be something they could easily remember and type into their own browser. So that's a great way to still drive people to links on Instagram. Our next Instagram tip is about stories. For those who have used Instagram, you're probably familiar with, at the top of the Instagram page are these circles, and one will be for your brand, and then for other recently posted stories. And stories are a great way. They typically last only 24 hours, but they get a lot of traction. And what we find is helpful is for, when we do Instagram posts, our most important posts, we then cross-post into our story as a way to get even more visibility. And this is something if you're not familiar with, I'm happy to do a one-on-one and walk anybody through how to do an Instagram story. But they make it pretty easy to, click the story circle, upload your photo, and then they let you do a really easy text overlay right there in the story platform. So that's a nice way to boost your reach on Instagram. And we find that a lot of Instagram users actually prefer stories. So it's a nice way to reach those people. Our next Instagram tip is to use a repost app. And a repost app is basically a way to share a post on Instagram from a different source while giving proper attribution. The app that we use is called Repost IG. It's free. It's a free download. It has a 4.9 out of 5-star rating, so it's been well received. And it's a nice way to, as we talked about earlier, to do 1 out of every 10 posts that's not about your business, where you're sharing someone else's post, or if you're plugging a fellow business, this makes it easy to do so on Instagram. And the example we give here is yesterday, or rather on Monday, the Lakewood City Schools returned with their online instruction, and through using a repost, we were able to share their welcome back. We got this post about the school district. So it's a nice tool to use to diversify your Instagram posts. And then our final tip for Instagram is to try out IGTV. This is a relatively new concept for Instagram. In the past, Instagram videos were limited to 1 minute in length, but with IGTV, you no longer have that limitation, and it makes it so you can post a video that is on the IGTV platform, but then also gets cross-post into your own feed on Instagram. This is something that we're still relatively new to. This actually from last weekend was a video we posted about our toolbox coordinator giving some shelter-in-place ideas for what you can do around your house to maintain and improve it during the quarantine period. And this was sort of our first foray into IGTV, but it's something we plan to use more frequently. And I'm happy to talk anybody through it who wants to give it a try. So guys, that's all we have as far as a formal presentation today. I have my contact information listed here, and don't hesitate to reach out if there's something specific that we can help you with or walk you through. And we're also happy to answer any questions that you have at this time. So thank you very much, guys, for listening today.
Hey, Matt. Everyone, this is Ian back with you. Great job, Matt. Thank you for leading us in a really great presentation. And we do have a few questions that have come in, so we'll just go in the order in which they were received. Matt, a question from Allison. Can you please talk about banner photos and profile pictures and how often you should post and what types of photos you should use?
Allison, that's a great question. I think that brings up a really good point, that your banner photo on Facebook is a great opportunity to plug your brand, and it's something that you can update regularly based on what you have going on. So we'll go to the Facebook here. So the banner photo is this rectangular one, and your profile photo is this circular one. And the way that we recommend handling it is to have your profile photo, the circular one, probably be consistent and have it feature your brand, your logo, customize your logo into a circular format. But for the banner, they make it really easy to change your cover. And so much like with a pinned Facebook post, we recommend that you update your cover to reflect your topic of the moment. If you have a particular sale upcoming, make a banner that reflects that sale. Use Canva to add some text overlay to give the name of the sale and the date. And really use this banner. It like your about section. It's sort of the front door to your Facebook page, and something that a lot of first-time visitors to your page will see and notice. So use it as a way to put your best foot forward and update it regularly to reflect the most pressing topic for your business.
Great. Thanks, Matt. The next question comes from Kelly. She said, to clarify, the repost app can be done with story posts, even if I haven't been tagged? ? There's a few businesses I really want to help cross-promote. I'm going to read that one more time. To clarify, the repost app can be done with story post, even if I haven't been tagged. There's a few businesses I really want to help cross-promote. Thanks, Kelly.
Thanks, Kelly. And you're absolutely right. You don't have to be tagged in a post to share it with a repost app. You can really essentially share any post with the repost app. And it's a great way to promote a fellow business, and also promotes attribution, since that's included with the app. So to answer your question, yes, it's something you don't have to be tagged in a post, and it's a great way to promote a fellow business.
Great, thank you, Matt. The next question, Matt, can you please talk about videos and ideal things to post about? And is it okay if they don't look like they were shot by a professional?
Yes, absolutely. Amateur videos they're honestly all the rage right now. And it's wholly appropriate to post a video from your phone. Facebook typically recommends that videos be at least 2 minutes in length to maximize engagement. One of the nice features that Facebook offers, when you upload a video, it gives you an opportunity to add captions, and it will auto-generate your captions for you, and then let you go in and edit those captions. It usually gets about 75 to 80% of what you said correct through the auto-generation, and then you have to go in and clean it up and make it 100% correct. Sort of like a text app where it guesses what you were saying. But so that's a great way to these amateur videos are a great way to reach your brand. Even one of the things we're trying right now with Lakewood Alive is a weekly update, Lakewood Alive weekly update video series, where we're having different staff members each Friday talk about Lakewood Alive, talk about our latest news, and just kind of share some of their personality with our audience. And I think something like that would translate really well to small business owners, whether you're in your place of business or you're stuck at home right now, to get out in front of the camera and talk to your audience. Speak from the heart. Feel free to tell stories or tell them that you miss them. You can't wait till you can reopen. But a video is a great way to do that. And our recommendation is to, if possible, shoot your videos horizontally. We find that for the most part, videos they look better on both Facebook and Instagram when they're shot horizontally as opposed to vertically.
Great, thanks, Matt. And just so everyone knows, we do have about 15 minutes left, so please ask as many questions as you like. I do have two more I'm going to get to in just a moment here. If you are curious or unsure how to ask a question, that is A-OK. Please look at the screen on the right-hand side in that little toolbar area, and there is the thought bubble with a question mark inside of it. So you just have to click that little thought bubble with the question mark, and that's where you send your question, and I'm able to view them right as they come through. So this is actually a really nice way of doing it. Okay, up next, this question is from Danielle. Matt, can you talk about the difference in audience messaging and the length of messages between these platforms?
Yes, that's a great question. So generally, the recommendation, well, I guess in both cases, it's okay to, visuals we say we strongly recommend using a visual with every post. Generally speaking, you want your Instagram posts to be a little bit less text heavy, and but that said, as the sauce example pointed out, when you're speaking from the heart and you're being empathetic and dealing with this crisis, it's okay to in some cases be a little bit more wordy than you normally would in a post. As far as because of the demographic and age demographic difference between the platforms, I think it's from a messaging standpoint, I think it's perfectly reasonable to sort of position Instagram posts for a younger generation, and whether that's using more emojis in your posts or changing the tone of the post. But I think it's worthwhile to experiment. So if you're brand new to Instagram, and you're just trying to get your legs wet, maybe at first you just cross post from Facebook, and then as your comfort level grows, then work on fine tuning and customizing your Instagram posts to see if a different style messaging that's a little bit more punchy and less text heavy works better. And you can also consider running kind of an A/B test where you have a similar style of posts about a topic related to your business, and maybe even the same day of the week in consecutive weeks, and try to change your tone and your be more punchy in the second week and see if it performs better. And that's just all part of the experimentation process. Did that answer that question?
Great, thanks, Matt.
Sure.
Danielle, if you want to let me know if you have any follow-ups to that, please go ahead and send that my way. The next question is from Danielle. Matt, did you say something about changes with YouTube?
Did I say something about that?
That is the question. She's just asking if you said something about changes in YouTube over the course of your presentation.
I did not address that. We last posted to YouTube on Saturday, and at that time it hadn't changed at all. The changes are to Facebook's new look, and then also to their Creator Studio, which is a good tool they now have to upload videos. To my knowledge, there haven't been changes to YouTube, but I'll definitely check on that just to make sure.
Great. Thanks, Matt. Next question comes from Scott. Scott, thanks for the question. What is the best way to get users of your personal page to view and like your new business page? Anything more than cross-posting?
Yes. I think you can appeal to your users on your personal page. A lot of them are, at the very least, they're acquaintances. In many cases, they might be friends or family members. And it's possible they've never thought to like your business page. But I think you can appeal to them. I think you can write a post on your personal page, just straight up saying, as many of you know, I'm a small business owner. This is my business. It's my passion. You can kind of speak from the heart, and you can ask those folks to give your page a like. And I think that's appropriate anytime, but especially appropriate during this crisis time that's really hard on the small business community.
So right now, that's the last question that we have. We'll give it another moment or two if anyone has any other questions. Or Matt, is there anything, as people are thinking about what they may want to ask, is there anything else that you wanted to either maybe spend a moment or two on expanding?
Yeah, guys, I'll just kind of wrap up. To reiterate, we recommend Facebook and Instagram as the platforms of choice, given everybody's time constraints. And, more important than anything is to tell your story. Tell it through your words, through your visuals. Speak from the heart. Show photos of your business. Show photos of yourself. People love when they can put a face to a name for a business. And don't be afraid to experiment and pour your heart out as you're telling your story. And that will be make it much easier for you to stay connected to these during this difficult time, and then emerge from this crisis with a stronger social following that can really help your business in the long run.
Great, thanks, Matt. We do have a few more questions. Thanks, everybody. Kelly writes, any tips on growing your IG business pages for likes?
That's a tough one. But there, the tool that we shared about the you can click on likes within your Facebook page and see who engaged with your post but doesn't actually like your page and invite them to like. Right now, that doesn't apply as well to Instagram. What I'll say about Instagram is that it's growing so rapidly that by using it in posting, quality content, posting original photos, adding a little bit of empathy and humor and storytelling, you'll naturally gain followers that way. I think the repost, using a repost app and sharing, last night, for instance, Lakewood had this porch sing along that was a really nice way for the community to come together. And if you find a nice photo of that on Instagram and use a repost app and repost it, that's a great way to show that you share that community pride during this difficult time. So I think by posting quality content on Instagram, the followers will come. I think that using the repost app and then also just using stories as a way to diversify your Instagram posts. But within Instagram, if you make quality posts and engage with audience, then you'll find that it'll grow pretty rapidly, your following.
Thanks, Matt. Next question from Danielle. What are the most favorable actions that positively affect Facebook algorithm? Shares?
That's a really good question. And that's one that we can only speculate about as the algorithm is secretive and constantly evolving. But, we find, to answer that question, I would agree that shares and comments really impact the algorithm. If you, think of it as a jet, once you have gotten shares and comments on a particular post, it's up in the jet stream, and now it can really soar, and it will continue to get engagement. Likes are certainly helpful as well, and if you're trying to help out a business's post, whether it's a fellow business or you're encouraging your own followers, definitely like the comment, like the post in addition to sharing or commenting, because they all factor in. But to your point, Danielle, shares and comments are like gold for a Facebook post. And it's okay to, on occasion, ask your customers, if you share something, you can say, give it a like if you agree with us, or you can try to engage them by coming up with a scenario where they should give you examples. Share your favorite. Say you're a children's toy store, and share your best advice for keeping a child stuck at home right now entertained from home. You can create conversations with your customers, and try to use that to spawn more engagement. But yeah, getting likes, getting shares and comments, and to a lesser extent likes, will really drive a post into that high engagement territory.
Thanks, Matt. We also want to see, we do have this question from Scott I'm going to get to in just a moment. But folks, please let us know if there's other things you'd like to learn about. Should we do something like this again? I did just send out a message to everybody on the chat bar. This is new to me, so I hope it went through. If it did, please type any ideas you have or think about those, and please send us an email. You see Matt's information right there. You can send him an email about any thoughts. We'd also like to consider doing this again and reach out to more small businesses. So please think about what else we can do, and if you would recommend this 101 webinar be done again. Question from Scott. Matt, is there a good number of hashtags to use on Instagram?
That's a really good question, Scott. I don't think there's a magic number, but we do recommend that you don't go crazy. I think somewhere in the 1 to 3 to 5 range is probably a good bet. And especially if you can separate those from the post itself, so add a line break after your post, and then have your hashtags so that you kind of remove some of the busyness a little bit. But I think that three hashtag to 5 hashtag, that's a good number. Have your in the case of Lakewood Live, we have our core brand hashtag, Loving Lakewood, and then we typically have a few other hashtags depending on the nature of the post. If it's a post about the Lakewood Summer Meltdown, we'll have hashtag Summer Meltdown. Or if it's a post about a Knowing Your Home workshop, we'll usually have hashtag Knowing Your Home and hashtag Housing Outreach. And so, you can kind of work to create hashtags that apply to different areas of your business. So you can have a brand hashtag and then a couple supplementary hashtags. But I think, at the same time, you don't want it to become spammy. And in some cases, Instagram will punish if it becomes clear somebody's being intentionally spammy. So I think keeping it in the 3 to 5 range is probably a good bet.
That's great. Thanks, Matt. Folks, we'll give it just a moment for any final questions, and then we will conclude today. Okay, seeing none coming through. You have Matt's, wait, hold on. There we go. Great. Nice. Thanks, Kathleen. I'm going to just say out loud, this is a pretty cool application. Okay, Kathleen asks, yes, says, I would recommend doing this again for other business owners. It was a good breakdown, and those are new to social media for business. So Kathleen, thank you very much for your feedback. We appreciate that. We are going to conclude here. Kelly, thank you very much. We appreciate the positive response. And we certainly will look, you're looking for as many ways as possible to reach out to new customers. So yes, please get in touch with Matt. Lauren, thank you very much for the positive feedback as well. Hey friends, thank you very much for spending the first hour of your day with us. We really appreciate it. Matt, thank you for your expertise and for putting together a really nice presentation. We look forward to rolling out more webinars as we are all working from homes or in different spaces than we're used to, trying to be as helpful as we can. And please let us know what we can do to help you out. So with that, we will conclude the webinar. Everyone, I hope you have a wonderful day and stay healthy. Bye-bye.